Hello, I'm Gus, and this is my one loop clear of elevator action on the hardest difficulty. This is an arcade game made by Taito in 1983, and it is one of my favourite games I've played in a very long time. It plays kind of like a mixture between a run and gun, like a Rolling Thunder kind of run and gun, and a maze game like Pac-Man, something like that. Very interesting mixture of, random enemy spawns, random enemy behaviours, mixed with running and gunning, I suppose. Yeah, it's got a very cute intro. There it goes. Your goal of the stage, your goal of the game, rather. I said your goal of the stage because there is one repeating stage. So you start from the top of the screen, start from the top of the building, rather. You got to get to the bottom of the building and then exit. And you can shoot light fixtures out. That's just a scoring thing. Or if they land on an enemy's head, you KO them. As far as I'm aware, enemies don't behave differently in the dark or whatever. But yeah, you're just trying to get to the very bottom of the building. You've got to go in all the red doors on the way there. You've got a gun. You can jump. If you touch an enemy while jumping, they get taken out. You have like a fixed jump trajectory. And you can move in elevators. And while you're in an elevator, you can move it up and down. Oh yeah, you can also crush enemies under elevators, which very rarely happens. You don't get an opportunity for that very much. And that's basically the game. Oh yeah, you can, there's sections with stairs. You gotta tap down to go down the stairs, up to go up the stairs. And when you get to go, or when you find a door, you gotta tap, in this case, left when you're on the doormat like that to go in the door. And then you can tap right to get out the door early, or you're forced out the door a few seconds later if you stay in there. So yeah, it looks like a very simple game. And you have seen every game mechanic for the most part, so yeah, it's simple in that way, but it took me a good couple months to get this clear. It's pretty tough. I'm trying to think what other mechanics there are. Well, you can only have 3 bullets on screen at once. Your gun has infinite ammo, but you can't just mash the fire button constantly. Oh, one more thing about elevators is, you can control them like that. You've got your kind of vertical elevator footsies you play while dodging enemies. Because pressing down in an elevator makes the elevator move down. That does mean you can't crouch in elevators. I don't know why that guy walked into that elevator. One thing you'll get to learn later on if you're unlucky is if an enemy walks onto your elevator, enemies can crouch in elevators. So they can just end up crouching next to you in a way where you can't get them. Which is terrifying. I don't remember if it happens in this run, but it sure has happened to me a lot. Yeah, it's a very random, very chaotic game. And enemies can... Oh, this section at the bottom of this stage is a lot of fun. So enemies can checkmate you in all sorts of ways. Simply shooting a low shot to make you jump, and then shooting another shot in a way that you're forced to land on it when you jump. That's it, you're dead. So a lot of the tactics in this game, once you've gotten used to the basics of baiting out enemy shots. Oh, another little trick you can do here is if you leave early and you haven't gotten all the red doors, it takes you back to the earliest red door that you missed. So sometimes like that, it's like, well, it's a little bit faster than walking to the red door. You end up using that quite a bit in this end part here, this last section. So all I'm trying to do now is get access to the central elevator so I can leave. There we go. It feels weird having to call them elevators because I'm in England, we call them lifts here, but there you go, stage 1 complete. But I don't know, the game's not called lift action. I might as well just keep calling them elevators. But anyway, yeah. The one other big thing I haven't mentioned is once an enemy shoots, there is a delay until they can shoot again of a few seconds. Which, delay goes down once you get further and further into the game, the more it loops. Like that, so you gotta go down, bait out a shot, move out the way, and then run in while they're unable to shoot again. That's quite a bit of the game. And a lot of the rest of the game, for reducing how likely it is that enemies will checkmate you is, because enemies can spawn out of any blue door, you really want to constantly be playing defensive and thinking, well, what would happen? Oh, I don't know if you saw that just then, by the way. If you stand on an elevator, the camera goes slightly lower than normal, so I could actually see the top few pixels of that red door on the left of floor 17 before I went down the stairs to floor 18. That'll come in, it'll be relevant later on, I think. Oh, yeah, and we've just reached the point that enemies can start going prone under your shots, speaking of the game getting harder as it loops. Yeah. But yeah, you have to start doing a lot of tactics to avoid the chance that an enemy might spawn in the door next to you and get you. Oh, this part was scary. I didn't want to be taken up there, but an enemy got in the elevator, so as soon as that happened, I knew they were going to start moving up towards me. Thankfully, they got off at the floor below, so they didn't just keep moving up and squish me into the ceiling, which has happened to me several times in this game. But yeah, so because you want to be very careful about enemies spawning next to you, right now I am not jumping at all. Don't jump unless you have to. It's a very important rule. I mean, that time I had to because an enemy shot a crouch shot at me. But a big part of improving your consistency at this game is... I couldn't crouch then because I was on an elevator, otherwise I would have crouched. Is you want to stay far enough away from enemies that when they shoot, you can look at them, you can see, oh, that's a standing shot. And you can duck on reaction to it being a standing shot, instead of having to jump every time you shoot. Because if an enemy's right in your face like that, I had to just, oh, like that enemy there, I just had to preemptively jump when they shot because they were so close to me I didn't think I'd be able to react to whether or not they're standing. So yeah, a big part of the game is spacing yourself in a way where you only have to jump if they force you to. Oh, and another thing you have to watch out for, which you can use to your advantage, but enemies really use to their advantage every single time, is, you kind of saw it there when that enemy came out, while the door is open, it just blocks bullets that are incoming. So yeah, you gotta, whenever you shoot an enemy, there we go, moving over into this one so I can move up. Whenever you shoot at an enemy, you have to think, okay, there's a chance that this enemy won't get hit because a door will open in front of them. There's a chance that, you know, later on in the game, the enemy just straight up won't get hit. Oh, that was scary. Straight up won't get hit because, you know, they'll go prone under my shot. You know, you need to constantly be thinking of a backup plan. So here I needed to go up and to the right, I believe, for the last red door, and I figured it was quicker to just leave there. There we go. So this section, the platforming here looks scarier than it is. You can jump across the gaps very easily. Like if you walk up to an edge that you could fall off. That was a point where there was an enemy crouching on my elevator. That was terrifying. Yeah, if you walk up to an edge that you would fall down, you can keep pushing against it for like half a second before you move off. So it's very easy to make it across those gaps. But one thing you can't do is if there's a cable there, because the elevator's, you know, below you, you can't jump past it. So quite a bit of this game is, you know, this last section is making sure you don't send an elevator down past you and sort of lock yourself in. Yeah, this is stage 3 or 4, just kind of moving down fast. Enemies have started reacting faster now, there we go, so it's harder for me to just zip past them. And yeah, in this top section, I tend to back myself up against a wall like this when I'm waiting for an elevator. Because if you stay really close to the centre, and you know, an enemy comes up in the elevator in the centre, and another enemy spawns on the other side of you at the same time, you're gonna get surrounded, likely. Well, you know, it seems quite a bit more likely that they'll checkmate you in my experience. So yeah, just then, that enemy got so close to me that's the only downside of backing off, is the very small chance that an enemy spawns specifically in that door next to you, which is very rare, but it can happen. And hey, that's why you can die 3 times in a run. You know, you get 2 lives by default and another one if you get 10,000 points. Okay, so I pushed the elevator into the floor there, and I saw there weren't any red doors on floor 17. So I'm going to the right, and that's because floor 17 is a very dangerous floor. Just with the way that all the enemies can come up from the elevator or from the sides and everything at once, so you kind of just want to get off floor 17 as soon as possible. I'm standing there for a second, because there can only be 4 enemies on screen at once. 3 of them were alive, and the other one had just died, so another one wasn't spawning. So that was a rare occasion where it's safe for me to... Okay, I messed up there. Didn't account for that enemy. It was safe for me to hang out on floor 17 a bit there, but usually it's not. So you want to stick to the right side, because that has stairs down to floor 16. Moving down, baiting shots, leaving. So I kept running then instead of stopping to attack, because I really wanted to get on that elevator. Because one of the most dangerous things you can do in this game, or one of the most dangerous positions you can be in, is just to be stuck waiting for an elevator. And that's why I'm riding on the top of this one, even though I don't have any control of the elevator's movement. You know, riding on top of an elevator is typically not a great place to be in this game, but it's better than waiting for one, usually. So yeah, I was taking a little risk then by running away from that enemy earlier up and thinking, it's fine, I'll just jump when the attack comes in. But that's because I just really didn't want to stop waiting. Okay, now I'm terrified. Because I realised that was, as soon as I came out, there were going to be 3 enemies next to me. I don't really know how I survived that one. I wasn't quite fast enough to react to the fact that that enemy was standing, so I panic jumped. I feel like I should have been able to hit that reaction. Oh, I said you get one about 10,000 points. Or you get an extend, I should say. Oh, and yeah, there, I used the door to block that shot. So you get an extended 10,000 points. Points for this game are, you get points every time you clear a stage, you get points every time you go in a red door. You get points for killing an enemy. More points if you drop a light fixture onto them, more points if you hit them with a melee attack, and more points if the lights are out when you KO them. So that's the only reason I keep shooting out light fixtures, really, for the most part, is because I get points for shooting enemies when the lights are out. And as much as I said my goal is to clear 4 stages of this game, it's like, well, the game only records your score, that's all it cares about, so I might as well play for score, I'm trying to get some points while I go. And yeah, there we go, 3,000 bonus points. And this is the final stage of the first loop. This is where enemies start firing very quickly, and where once I bait out a shot, there is barely enough time to drive down and shoot them. Yeah, you really, really, really have to be careful here. Bait out a shot, run. And, at this point in time, I'm not going back up to shoot more enemies for points. I'm just done with scoring at this point, just trying to survive. I'm on stage 4. Oh, that's my phone. Yeah, I can get very, very evil at this point. And yeah, I'm just running as fast as I can. Going right here because I gotta go in the red door. Although with that split, you kind of want to go right, unless you're being forced to go left, honestly. And yeah, there are all 4 enemies alive on screen right now, which is, something that's pretty handy is just kind of, if an enemy's in a position where they're not posing a threat to you, you can just leave them around. I don't know why I jumped then instead of shooting that enemy. It feels like a not necessary risk. Okay, so that time I thought the enemy was going to shoot me again, and I wanted to jump over the shot, but I slightly mistimed how long they'd wait before they shot. Just didn't have the timing down quite. It's one of those things that comes as a surprise in this game where you spend... Okay, so those 3 enemies, I left them alive on purpose because this floor here, floor 13, you often have to wait for that elevator for a long, 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 long time. And you really want to reduce how many enemies can spawn. So, the dream is to have all 4 enemies spawned on a floor above you or below you, and then you're completely safe. No enemies can spawn in your face. But at the very least, you want to just kind of leave enemies alive on floor 14, where they can't really get to you very easily, to make floor 13 a bit easier. I tend not to do too much, letting enemies clog up spawn slots, because then I'm not shooting them, and shooting them is like the main thing you do for score, and this game's primarily a score game, but like, that particular section especially is like, maybe I should just leave them alive. Okay, so I really messed up there by staying in that door long enough that enemies could appear on both sides of me at once. It's kind of forced me into a very tricky position where I frankly got lucky to survive. And yeah, I got lots and lots of runs to this stage of the game. To this last section of stage 4. I think the first time I got a run to this section of the game was the first day I played it. And it took a couple months for me to clear it. And there we go. Normally if there's an enemy coming down an elevator, I just jump up and shoot them and hit them, like a couple frames after they see me. But once you've gotten this far into stage 4, they will shoot the moment they see you. So even if I jump up in their face and start mashing the shoot button, they'll probably trade with me and kill each other. So that's why I jumped backwards there from that elevator. So here I've just got to get across to floor 2. I figure it's safer to... I can't believe I saw a muzzle flash from that enemy then. They were like frames away from hitting me. Yeah, I figured that was the easiest way across. And yeah, at this point I'm just trying to go as fast as I can. Goal is to get across here. Get on any elevator you can. There you go. It tends to be safer to be on an elevator so you can dodge vertically like this and avoid all the enemies. This part I got greedy because I saw an elevator coming down. I thought, you know what, I think I can just go across there. And I cannot believe how fast that enemy shot their second shot. It almost hit me. This is terrifying. Okay, so that's the first loop of elevator action on hardest. And you know, I keep going. Try and survive as long as I can for this stage, which I haven't even seen before. And this is one of those games where it looks like it would be repetitive to play. At least that's how I felt from watching it. It's like, oh, you're just playing the same stage every time, but like, the way the enemies behave each time are very different. The situations they put you in are very different. And because everything you do is so committal and depends so much on the exact spacing of the enemies, it feels very different every time you encounter enemies in a slightly different way. The red doors are different, so you know, the routes you're taking through the stage are different every time. The places the enemies spawn in are very different. It doesn't feel like you're doing the same thing 4 times. It feels like different things are happening constantly throughout the run. Oh, again, I pushed the elevator down there. I saw that the second door from the left is red. There you go. But in this case, I would have had to go left anyway to go in that red door, so it didn't really matter. The enemy just squished itself for no real reason. But yeah, it is amazing, amazing, amazing how much this game gets out of one enemy type, one stage, for all intents and purposes. And then, you know, the interactable elements are just elevators, doors, stairs, and that's it. And it's especially impressive how desperately trying to get down fast enough that I can punch those enemies. There we go. It's especially impressive how sort of analog and nuanced all of these elements are to use. Like the elevators aren't, you know, you don't just like press a button to teleport up or down a floor. You can, there you go, be very nuanced with how you use it, and you're playing vertical elevator footsies. I can't believe I managed to get down there and dodge those 2 enemies. Ah, dang it. And there I get hit. And, you know, everything else, very, very, very nuanced. The controls are very satisfying to master too. Once you're crouching, if you want to stop crouching, you have to tap up instead of just letting go of down. And if you want to jump again after you've landed from a jump, there's no buffer, so you have to really fully wait until you've landed before you input that second jump. So acting under pressure, you know, ducking, dodging a few shots, turning around, stand up again, jump a second time, really is tricky and feels incredibly satisfying when you master it. All that to say, very simple game on the surface, elevator action, but like, they crammed the absolute maximum amount of depth out of anything I've played. Fantastic game. Maybe my favourite run and gun of all time. Probably the hardest run and gun I've played of all time. Yeah, wonderful game. Thank you so much for watching. It rules. Give it a try.